So how do we bring back the balance with the microbes as well as your digestive system? And this is what I want to chat to you about in part 4. What can you do to improve your GIT as well as your health? And I use something called the 5-Gut-R program. And it's been designed by functional medicine practitioners. And this is the kind of process we go through to help people improve their gastrointestinal tract. Now, number 1 is remove. Number 2 is replace. Number 3 is we re-inoculate. Number 4 is we repair the gut lining. And number 5, we rebalance the system. And I'm going to be going through each one of these in a little bit more detail. So number 1, if we need to remove the irritant to stop the leaky gut, the aggravation occurring in the gastrointestinal tract. Now, what are the ones that I look at? Well, number 1, sugar, fried fatty food, processed foods, we take out. I don't like sweeteners, I don't like honey, I don't like agave, coconut sugar. I take all of these things out. I don't want to be exacerbating the system, and we sometimes find that these types of foods can exacerbate it. You'll see number 2 over here. I've got people that with allergies, intolerances, autoimmune diseases. I take out gluten, wheat, dairy, eggs. I might even put them on something called a FODMAP diet, which I'm not going to go through right now. But if I look at it, if you can, take yourself off of these foods, but also take yourself off of gluten, wheat, dairy, and eggs. And do this for around about 2 to 4 weeks. So we're going to remove the irritants, because a lot of clients say they're absolutely fine on these food items. But when I take them off of these food items, within 2 to 3 weeks, they say to me, Tanya, I've got more energy. My brain's working again. I don't have the fatigue. The whole system starts to change. And some of you might not feel that great within 2 to 3 weeks because there's been such damage over time. So it might take 2 to 3 months to really start seeing and feeling a difference. But the majority of you will start seeing and feeling the difference within the first couple of weeks of removing the irritant. Because if we remove the irritant, the body has time to heal. If you keep on bombarding it with the same thing that's creating a problem, it's going to be challenging. Other things you can do elimination diets, you can do anti-inflammatory dietary programs. There's so many options out there, but this is what I do at the beginning to help my clients out. Okay, so that's number 1, we remove the irritants. Number 2 is we replace what the body has lost to help with the digestion. Now, one of the things I use are digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes, remember, your mouth, your small intestine, your pancreas should be developing or providing your body with digestive enzymes. But if it's battling, you can take digestive enzymes such as amylase, protease, lipase, cellulase, lactase. And if you go onto my website, or on the website, I will have these digestive enzymes as well as the probiotics that I recommend. And I'll also have the 5-Gut-R program printed or in printable form, so you can download it and look at it and try and implement it over time for yourself. Another thing to look at is something called your betaine hydrochloride, which is a supplement that I give to clients if they've got low stomach acid production. Now, I ideally like a health professional to provide you with giving you this advice and to monitor your acid production. It's quite difficult to actually see how much acid you are producing in the stomach. You obviously have to go to a gastroenterologist where he will do a test to see. But I've put down something called the burp test, which is a simple tool you can use at home to give you an indication if you're producing enough acid. Now, it's not a definitive test, but it's one of the tests we can use to say, hey, do I have a problem? Should I be trying to improve that problem, and will it make a difference, or do I need further investigation? Now, a burp test, what you do is you take half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda in 1 glass of water, first thing in the morning, and you just drink it back. Not a great tasting thing, but it's easy to do, and you'll only need to do it repeated 3 times, 3 mornings in a row. If you burp within 3 to 5 minutes, it means that ideally Well, it means that you have good hydrochloric acid production. If it takes you longer than that, greater than 8 to 10 minutes, some people are 20 to 30 minutes later, it could indicate that you have low hydrochloric acid production. And if you've got low hydrochloric acid production, as I said to you, it starts creating a cascade effect where you'll reduce digestive enzyme production, bile production, your absorption factors may be reduced because you don't have enough breaking down of those micronutrients, and then some of the food lands up in the colon, partially digested, which may cause a problem. If you are going to be taking betaine hydrochloride, you should ideally take it during or straight after a meal, not before a meal, okay? Because if you take it before a meal, it's going to aggravate the gut. Take it during or after. If you are taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, you will find, like ibuprofen or aspirin, this may not be a good idea for you to take. So that's when you need to go to your medical professional to see what he says. Just quickly, on a brief note, when taking digestive enzymes, you can take just before you eat, during, or after. It depends on the individual. If I take digestive enzymes before, it's pretty aggressive on my stomach, so I've chosen to take it during a meal or after a meal, but it depends on what you are capable of doing. If you take the digestive enzymes, if your stool goes yellow while taking the digestive enzymes, cut back on the amount of digestive enzymes. Either maybe just take it at night. I take it 3 times a day for breakfast, lunch, and supper. I sometimes miss the lunch or breakfast, but usually when I'm having a complex meal, I will make sure I take the digestive enzymes to help the stomach. So lactase tends to break down the lactose and the sugar. So if you're eating dairy, this can help with breaking down lactose if you've got lactose intolerances. Cellulase helps to break down the cellulose and fiber in the vegetables. So if you're battling to digest raw veggies, even cooked veggies, that might help. Lipase breaks down lipids, protease breaks down protein, and amylase breaks down carbohydrates. So it's a good combination, but make sure you get a good make, and I'll put a few on that pamphlet handout that I've put onto the webinar, okay, or onto the website, should I say. Now, since we've done the replacing the digestive enzymes, the betaine hydrochloride, I'm not going to go through bile, but maybe with some of us, we need to activate bile more effectively to help emulsify the fats. And bile, remember, gets released from the gallbladder. And if you are not producing enough bile, you might find your stools become very fatty. And how can you tell is sometimes you'll find the stools float and they stick to the side, and you might find, or they become frothy, and that might indicate fat malabsorption. You can do a stool test for that, or what I do is say to clients is maybe take a bile a supplement, or what you can do is stimulate bile action by taking things like dandelion, artichoke, milk thistle, anything bitter to help activate the gallbladder, producing those kind of things. Now, if we look at, I've just gone a little bit too far, sorry. So if we look at the next slide here, re-inoculate, we want to re-inoculate the gastrointestinal tract by taking things like probiotics or prebiotics, should I say. A probiotic is very important because a probiotic, when we take on it, it adds in beneficial microbes to help support the system. You can take them in supplement forms or fermented forms, and I've once again given you a handout that you can download. The supplements, when do I use a supplement? Well, for my severe gastrointestinal problems, I may use a simple supplement with just lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. And it usually only has 2 strains, but high dosages. So I might go up to 15 billion CFUs, colony-forming units, in per capsule, because I find that's what a lot of my sensitive clients can handle. Those of you that are not sensitive, you can consume a multi-strained probiotics, or you can take in fermented products. So your fermented foods such as kimchi, sauerkraut, your kefir, fermented vegetables all have bacteria in them, as well as your microbes such as your yeast and your candidas that may be very beneficial for your system. Fermented foods don't work very well for people with candida. You may hear mixed reviews about this. If you are going to be taking it, just monitor your symptoms, because I find the majority of people I give fermented foods to who have candida actually have more of a flare up and feel really uncomfortable with it. So once again, listen to your body. But if you have an extreme gut problem, start off with very small microbial intake, two species of probiotics, and then build yourself up to taking fermented products a bit later on. But once again, it depends on the individual and what you can tolerate. So probiotics, absolutely fantastic. We need to get them into our body to help bring the balance back as best as we can. Another thing is adding in prebiotics. You can take a supplement form or you can take it in foods. I love food. So your vegetables are prebiotics. Your fruit in moderation, small amounts, act as a prebiotic. Sweet potato, artichoke, asparagus, oats, barley, all are fantastic prebiotics. And prebiotics, what they do is they feed the probiotics and the beneficial bacteria to help them grow, but also to help them produce something called short-chain fatty acids, which are very important for our immune system because they help modulate the immune system in our body. So for me, prebiotics, probiotics, fantastic. Supplement forms of prebiotics, inulin, phos, fructooligosaccharides, you can take. A lot of your probiotics have prebiotics added into them. They create a symbiotic relationship together, and they say they create more benefit in the system. The research is still a bit sketchy with that one. That will change, I'm sure of it. But remember, those of you with IBS, a lot of bloating and abdominal discomfort, prebiotic foods may cause more disturbances and discomfort. So start off gradually, or start off small and build your way up gradually with including these kind of prebiotic foods in your eating plan. Okay, so re-inoculate, absolutely important to bring that balance back as best as we can. Again, what we look at is repair, number 4. Repair is important because we want to repair the gastrointestinal lining. L-glutamine is absolutely phenomenal for healing the gut lining, as well as aloe vera and your deglyceride licorice. Remember, deglyceride licorice will not impact your blood pressure. Some of you might find it will do, but it should not, because it's been deglycerized. So for me, L-glutamine, aloe vera, deglyceride licorice, a combination of all three is fantastic. Metagenics has a really great range called Glutagenics, and that will help bring the inflammation down and start to feed the epithelial lining, your cell lining on your gut, to help repair it and to get it strong again. So for me, when I was going through my issue, I took L-glutamine, the Glutagenics, and really it just made my gut feel a lot more comfortable. So hopefully it'll do the same with you. If we look at supplements, which ones to take? Well, if you've got bacterial infection or overgrowth, zinc is fantastic. Zinc has been shown to help reduce pathogens in the gut. Omega-3 acts as an anti-inflammatory, so your fish oil omega-3s, if you can get those in, about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 milligrams a day if you're not taking warfarin or those kind of drugs. Vitamin C, fantastic, also great for the epithelial lining and the immune system. Vitamin A and vitamin D, very important for the immune system. There are too many people that are deficient in vitamin D. You can go and get a vitamin D check from the doctor. It's very cheap blood test that you can do. But what I find is if you are vitamin D deficient, it is going to impact your gastrointestinal health, your hormonal health, and your overall well-being. So make sure that's fine. Usually 20 nanograms per milliliter is classified as a healthy range in the medical professional. But if we're looking at functional medicine, if we look at the vitamin D association, they're saying up to 50 nanograms per milliliter is what we should be working towards for a healthy body as well as a healthy immune system. So work towards around about 40 to 50 nanogram per milliliter for a healthy vitamin D level. And remember, we're looking at vitamin D3 here. Vitamin A, great for the epithelial lining. Also, interestingly, a lot of people are deficient in vitamin A. They're not consuming enough. I think we've had this fear factor of taking too much vitamin A and it's toxic for you. You've got to take a lot of vitamin A for it to be toxic in the system. So things like cod liver oil, absolutely fantastic in vitamin A and vitamin D. And once again, helps with the immune system and bringing back the balance in the epithelial lining. So those are the supplements I would take. I wouldn't necessarily take a multivitamin and mineral right now, or any form of vitamin unless you've been prescribed by the doctor. Magnesium might be actually quite beneficial for you here. So that's one of the other ones I might bring in. But taking too many vitamins and your absorption factors are already compromised, we start to question, is it worth you taking the vitamins and minerals? Because are you really going to absorb and utilize them, or are you just going to be excreting them because of your leaky gut and your diarrhea or your discomfort that you're experiencing? So ideally, I'd say take the supplements out, just stick to these ones, maybe with the magnesium, and then in 2 weeks' time, bring back the supplements. Also, a lot of these have fillers in, so you've got to check for gluten, dairy. You've got to look at all the synthetic fillers they have to basically look for, to eliminate the useless supplements out there. So Metagenics is absolutely fantastic to be investing in, and it would be nice to see what other supplements you guys would recommend. And then lastly, on this slide, for repair, antimicrobials. Antimicrobials are more to reduce the disturbances from things like your parasites, your pathogens that you don't want in the system. The problem when taking an antimicrobial now is if you've got leaky gut, you could be causing more discomfort and more toxic byproducts to get into the bloodstream. So antimicrobials, we do not want to be having them in the system right now. Maybe in 4 weeks' time, when we've got an intact gastrointestinal tract, we can include them. But at the present moment, keep the antimicrobials out unless you've followed a health professional that has advised you to take it. Okay, so L-glutamine, phenomenal. Supplements that will support the immune system, support your inflammatory response, those are the ones I would recommend. Antimicrobial, bring them in a little bit later on, okay? And then lastly, rebalance. Rebalance your blood sugars. This is one of the biggest problems. I haven't gone through this, but if your blood sugar levels are out and you're suffering from hypoglycemia, this will have an impact on your mood, your blood-brain barrier, your gut barrier, on every single process. All your organs will be suffering if you are following this yo-yoing diet or eating plan and not balancing your blood sugar levels. So please balance your blood sugar levels and doing what I've stated in step 1, just to help bring, if I look at step 1 over here, let's bring that in, remove. If you just remove the irritations, the things that are creating those irritants in the system, you'll find it will help hopefully start to bring back the balance in your body. Relax, so reduce your stress. We chatted about stress a bit earlier on in step 3. Stress is one of the biggest problems for microbial dysbiosis. Finding ways to reduce stress, meditation, mindfulness, fantastic. Prime, Tony Robbins has a prime, a 10-minute prime yourself. Really look at that if you need to. But for me, these things need to be addressed. Eat for your microbiota. Don't just eat because it's nice. Eat to support them as best as you can, because they're the ones that are supporting your system and keeping you healthy. Exercise, fantastic. Even if it's just 10 minutes to start off with first thing in the morning. Activate the oxygen to the brain. Get those microbes stimulated. Get the bowels moving. Really, exercise is important for you, but obviously bring it in when you can manage the exercise. Sleep, as I said, get enough sleep, which is great. Supplementation, supplement or support the system. If you're with a health professional, you can do that. And relieve the discomfort by using things like iberogast, sweetest bitters, tends to help relieve the discomfort in the gastrointestinal tract. So for me, rebalance is absolutely important, reducing the stress, stabilizing the blood sugar levels to support the body as best as you can. Now, if we look at all those 5 processes I've chatted about, the 5 Gut R program, some of you may feel overwhelmed by doing it. So this is where I say to you, do small changes instead of big changes. I'm all about, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do everything at once, which sometimes can be quite stressful. But I know some of you with chronic fatigue, ME, those of you with depression, you may find that just doing one thing every week will start, or one change every week will start to see benefits. So if you look here, I've said week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Week 1 is just planning, so remove the irritants, take out the sugar, take out the gluten, dairy. Maybe you're following an autoimmune protocol elimination diet. Just do that for me this week. Okay, and that's a huge task. That's a huge task that you're going to be implementing. Week 2, bring in the digestive enzymes, the probiotics, the vitamins that I've prescribed. Week 3, rebalance. So look at your stress, your meditation, and week 4, increase your prebiotic food. So you can work on it on a step-by-step basis. But planning is everything, and then taking action comes after planning. Okay, also remember, you've got to ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want a healthy gut? You know, for me, it was, I want to be able to eat again normally. I want to, as normally as possible. I want to have more energy for my kids, and I want my brain to work again. I don't want foggy brain. I want to be able to concentrate. I want to be able to learn and retain more. I want to have more energy to do what I want. I want to go for a run. So for me, the why comes in. If I'm going to do something that's going to destroy my body in a negative way, I'll always have that question, why are you doing what you're doing? You know, sometimes emotions will drive you to do what you don't want to do. But having that in the brain to say, why am I doing what I'm doing, will hopefully drive you. So those of you with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, why are you doing the gut health program? Why are you investing in your health? Because you don't want to feel the way you're feeling at the present moment. You want to feel, you can visualize or have an idea of where you're wanting to be, and hopefully you can work towards that by just doing these simple processes that are going to take time and effort, but we can work them on a step-by-step ladder in order to reach our goal. Okay, you can also look at it in another way. Week 1, I could rebalance. So I can look at stress, meditation. Week 2, I can bring in the digestive enzymes, the probiotics. Week 3, I can bring in the dietary approach, and week 4, I can increase my prebiotic food. So depending on where you are at the moment, you can say to yourself, how do I want to address these 5 Gut R program principles? Do I want to do it in a gradual way, so every week included, or do I want to just do as much as I can at once? What I provide for my clients is, I say week 1, week 2, come in first, and we do that for about 2 to 3 weeks, and week 3 we'll start to rebalance the body as best as we can by looking at stress, looking at our behavior, looking at our perceptions to help us manage our body a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to be ending off there. We need to listen to our gut instincts. Our guts is talking to our brain all the time, so please stop creating that change. Listen to your gut, because it's telling you a lot of things. And then also, if you're wanting to look at the website, I've got some fantastic recipes on the website, www.brightlifeproject.net. If there are any questions, just post me some information. I do online consults as well as some courses out there. I've got a lovely course called Shift Your Mind, Shift Your Weight with Taryn Roth. Absolutely fantastic. We've got to change the mind. It's the same like here. You've got to change your mindset in order to help invest your health. And thanks so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate you being part of this journey, and I wish the best for all of you. Okay, cheers. Bye.